My name is Jasmine. Willois. I'm the president of the Note Assistance Program, and this presentation is entitled Match Made in Heaven, which is self-directed IRAs and mortgage note investing. So I'm here with Belinda Savage. So I think we're going to start off by just talking a little bit how to build your empire on mortgage note investing. Then Belinda's going to jump in here and talk about the self-directed IRA portion. So we presented this with the NYC Network Group once before. It's the only time that we've done this, so it's exclusive for you guys. This is about building your empire with note investing, mortgage notes. So we're here to help you guys just basically become independent, competent, and integrity-riddled note investors, one member at a time. There's not a bank account too small or a bank account too big where you can't get involved with this. Some of you guys are looking to do this for family offices, and some of you guys are doing this just to increase and, as we like to say, let no retirement account become underfunded. So that's what Belinda Savage is here to talk about. And a little bit about myself. This is me. I love to have fun. As for those of you who do not know about me, this is my son quite some time ago. So we'll have to update these photos. He is now 13 years old, much bigger than that. We love to spend our times out on the water parks and doing stuff. But this is why we do this. This is my why. I want to talk about what a note is, and then we're going to let Ms. Savage jump in here. So what is a note? For those of you who don't know, the note is a promissory note and the actual deed of the home. So for those of you out there who have ever purchased a home with a loan, you know you sign tons and tons and tons of paperwork, right? And all that paperwork, what they do is they put it into a manila envelope. In our case, we have blue envelopes. For those of you in my community, you know, we put them in these. And we take that information, the 1003, all that stuff, and we sell it. That's what we buy. And so the two most important things out of all that documentation are going to be the deed and the promissory note. And those are the things that we're buying. If you're not familiar with it, the deed is the actual legal document that transfers the property. Okay, so it's going to show you the legal right. You have the legal right to possess it, right? It's like the pink slip for those of you who have actually own cars. That might be a better way to think about it. Also, it's pink, right? So think about the pink slip. Promissory notes, right? That's the other part, but that's the part when you actually have a loan. And so that's where you have a financial instrument now. So that's the IOU. And so there's only one of those. The rest, you're going to need an allonge. You're going to need a certain document to transfer these two documents. So these are going to be some of the most important things that you're looking for. So some files are going to come with a lot of documentation. Some are going to come with very little. Performing versus non-performing. As you can imagine, some of you know there are people who are paying their mortgages right now and some people who are not able to pay their mortgage. And you really can't tell based on just by, looking at the house or what car people drive nowadays, because for all intents and purposes, we're just getting out of a pandemic, right? So a lot of people are going through a lot of things. This particular slide is here to give you an example of, you never know which house is performing or not performing from a bank's perspective, which is what we're trying to teach you to do, taking these bank assets and putting them into your self-directed IRA with people like M2 Trust. From that perspective, you really only care about, are the payments coming in, right? Or are they not? And so whether the house looks like this or not, that's something based upon the value and other things that we'll have you look into. But in the end of the day, you want to know, excuse me, I'm going fast, if it's performing or not. So let's talk about performing notes a little further. This is a quick slide to tell you why people invest in performing notes. Hedge funds, banks, Wall Street, they do it all the time, right? And with that said, the TILA is something that they used to use. I think they have a different name for it now, but that used to stand for the truth in lending. So for those of you who are out there underwriting mortgages right now, you know that they have a new abbreviation for this. At the end of the day, it's the transparency that they're trying to make sure that all the borrowers know. And what they're telling you is that if you borrow X amount of dollars, as you can see in this brief example, right? If you're paying 7%, your finance charge is going to be $200,000, and your finance the finance amount is $138,000. So if you borrowed $138,000 for whatever the amount of period this is, this looks like 359 payments, right? So about a 30-year mortgage, and at a 7% rate, you would end up paying back $343,000. So the bottom line is the profit is going to be over $200,000. So when you do the math on that, this is why people, or shall I say firms, banks, and Wall Street invest in these things. That is quite the large percentage, right? So getting that into your IRA, as you can also imagine, just really knocks the socks off of that company matching that they start to offer you and things like that. You start thinking, maybe I should put a note or two into my IRA as well. All right, we're gonna get to the juicy part, which is where Belinda comes in, which is where's the money. And by talking about that is the exit strategies. One of the wonderful things about the mortgage note investing aspect of the real estate game is that you have well over 20 exit strategies. Here's just a list of a few. But for those of us who love options and know the beauty of options, as far as exit strategies, you will understand that this is why this is the perfect, in my opinion, asset class for your self-directed IRA, and therefore the match made in heaven, because you have so many ways to exit and exit profitably. So if the wind blows, the pandemic sets in, things of that nature happen that are out of your control, you can actually just get a little more creative and see if there's an opportunity for you to make money still in this and not necessarily be out in the cold based on your investment. So that's unique. We're going to show a few live assets that were taken down just to give you an example of what you can put into your IRA. So here's one that had an unpaid balance, and really when you're working with our community, this is what you are basing your offer on, the unpaid balance. So the unpaid balance here was $58,500. And so we were able to go in and purchase this for about $34,000. The after repair value of the house itself, and as you can see here, whether you think this house looks good or could, use some landscaping, what I can tell you is the only thing that the IRA is concerned about is if this thing making payments, is the borrower making payments, and this is asset performing. Monthly payments, $510, and that is P&I, principal and interest. If you out there are a landlord, just know that I've been there before. So you're paying maintenance, you're paying the property management fee. This is principal and interest. So this is after tax and insurance. This is what you're getting into your account, right into your self-directed IRA account there with M2 Trust Services. So you outlay $34,000. You're protected by a home that the after repair value is $200,000. And at the end of the day, the return is close to 18%, if not more, with a balloon payment in July. So right about now, this one should be coming due. And here's what we do with that. We get creative. If they are looking to, they can refinance out, right? And then you'll go ahead and get what's balance, the balance of that, which is whatever's left of this unpaid balance. So many different ways to exit this creatively. And a lot of people are doing that right now. Right now, if they have the credit, a lot of people going in and they are refinancing. And what that's doing for people who hold these mortgage notes in their IRA, that refinance, when they come in, that money goes right back again into your IRA. And this is again what's purchased for $34,000. So imagine just if they did do that, boom, you're going to get a big windfall to your account. All right, keeping it moving. We'll go through at least a few others. We have one here in North Carolina. So as you can see, we do this nationwide. They don't all have to be $34,000. This one sold for $8,000, right? Again, this one has a little bit better landscaping. Bottom line, it was 8 months behind on payments. So this is something that for $8,000, you're going to try to work with them. If you get the house back, you'll know what to do. For those of you who are in North Carolina, many of you guys have access to that area, right? And for those of you who are actually flippers, you can see the margin here on what you can do as far as getting that sold just to a wholesaler, right? So no matter what condition it's in, you got it for $8,000, you put another, let's say $5,000 to foreclosure costs. Now you're in it still under $20,000, and after repair value is $250,000, right? End of the day, you can sell this bad boy for basically anything and make money and leave the work to someone else. So with that said, we're giving you some examples on what you're going to put into your IRA. They don't call her Savage for nothing. I know her to be Belinda. I know her name says Brenda, but we'll let her tell us what the facts are. You never know nowadays. How are you, lady?
All right, good to see you. Always a pleasure. Yeah, I think that most people in the investment world, particularly in the East, we've had to bring them this wonderful message of freedom that they do not have to be tied to Wall Street for the rest of their life with the volatility and the changes going on, particularly in light of the pandemic and perhaps a few other pieces of news that, just literally dictate to how their 401k or their IRA is being performing. So imagine taking, instead of 100 shares of Apple or Microsoft or perhaps, Shell Oil, whatever it might be, imagine buying a note and you become the bank. And now it's not only the fact that you bought the asset, but it's secured by the real estate, which to me is a game changer. And that's when I got into this business 21 years ago, and I was running a trust custodial bank out of San Francisco to learn this. It became a huge life-changing investment arena. There is now, compared to 14 years ago when it was only $7 trillion in the alternative asset space, it's now $64 trillion. So we went in the right direction, Jasmine. We left Wall Street, hallelujah, and we came to Main Street and we said, let me see. We could do real estate of any kind, private lending. We could do startups, precious metals, cannabis, crypto technology, you name it, we do it. And the beauty of it is they talk about having true asset allocation in Wall Street, but we actually perform it. So the beauty of having notes as opposed to being a landlord in real estate, you're holding the paper. And as long as you're holding that piece of paper, you hold what we know as being the true asset holder, expecting those payments to come in, or we're working it out with the owner of the house or the dwelling. So I believe for the future, we're going to see an incredible amount of notes coming due because of the pandemic, and the foreclosure markets actually got moved and we know got frozen last year. I think we're going to see a whole new marketplace opening up. So what most people don't understand is you can take your old 401k, 403b, we don't care what it's called, and actually transfer it from Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab, JP Morgan. You transfer it. It is not a taxable event. You hold it on a true self-directed platform, which is what M2 is. And once we have the money there and they find the note with you, Jazz, they are buying the paper. They become the bank. And the beauty of it is, again, they become involved with that asset. So honestly, this is where we work together. It's very simpatico. I'm the custodian who holds the account, the money, and obviously we are shown that note. So it's actually brought to M2 to look at because we have to sign off on it as well. It's not a compliance or a police position. It's merely the fact that holding the IRA, we actually have to perform the transaction with the investor. And that is why we go simpatico with each other. So I can't say enough about this whole arena. There's over $26 trillion in the marketplace. It's almost 27 now, where you can take tax deferred and tax exempt money. Imagine a Roth buying that one note for $8,300. I'd love to do the statistics on that, what the returns are. It's
Right,
beautiful. It's wonderful. And then you buy a few of them. If you've got a $30,000 or $40,000 IRA or an old 401k rolled over. So we
That's what
show
I'm
you
saying,
how to
yeah.
do that. We work that together. And again, it's all about a teamwork. And the fact is that we're experts in this field. So we just enjoy working with investors. I'm going to turn it back to you.
You are very instrumental in helping our members find a few things, money for themselves, right? A few of our members, a lot of us are not new to the just working field, right? So we have jobs that we've left behind, and you're working with quite a few of our members today that are finding old 401ks. Tell us about how and that process is and how that works and how someone finds something.
Especially since the pandemic, when people were laid off. And so they had the opportunity to take an old tax savings plan. Maybe they were working in a state capacity or municipality and they could no longer afford them right then. Well, then we bring that over. We actually transfer it over directly into our custodian platform, or an old 401k, or perhaps an IRA sitting over at a credit union. We actually do the transfer for you.
So you mentioned government, so you can do thrift savings plans as well?
Yes, yes. Again, it does not matter whether it's a private, a corporate, or a government's type of retirement account. So let me make that statement. All retirement.
Everyone's
accounts
invited to this party.
can be. Yes, they can come over. They can move. They are not held hostage. It's great.
That's
And
exciting
what's
because a
fun.
lot of us are now realizing that we can have access to this bank type profits and hedge funds like returns, even though, again, we may have a military background and we're typically, unless you're going out and you're able to get educated on, how to become successful in real estate, which of course everything tries some education, but to get these type of profit margins is what's exciting. A lot of us are playing catch up, right? Let's just be honest. So.
And a lot of people who are over the age of 50 are trying to do that right now. They think that they've lost this game, and it has not been lost. You can still make this up into your 60s. Don't even think about your age. It is all about you getting into the whole arena of private notes, because there is such a great opportunity to actually generate double-digit returns. And if you can do that in Wall Street, well, then good luck, because as far as I'm concerned, trading against the logarithms on the New York Stock Exchange is not my thing anymore. We've done our trading days over there.
It's for the young. It's for the young. It's for the young. We're talking about.
We're so much better over here. So I wish people could actually, if they want to sit with us, they can call us. I'm sure we're going to put our contact.
Yeah, we don't have Q&A today, but we are going to throw out some information. Anthony's going to send out an email, letting you guys know how to contact us with specific questions. But what we want to help you do is find the money. Because the other thing I was going to let you guys know that she's instrumental in that OPM piece. And so as I, again, age myself, what does OPM stand for? If you haven't seen that movie, it's called Other People's Money. It's an old DeVito movie, right? So go check it out if you're really interested in this kind of lifestyle and just having fun. But the OPM piece of this is, once you establish yourself as a note investor and you say, this is a product for me, I know how to capture these double digits, then you can start going to these M-Trust events and finding people who are looking for alternative investments, especially as we come out of this pandemic. So tell us about some of the ways that you help people invest and find these alternative investments for the OPM piece.
So it's all about relationship. And literally, as you well know, I actually speak at 12 different REIAs, real estate investor groups across the country, and I give workshops. And the other thing is we have Zoom meetings. For instance, if one person, and it could be one person who's trying to put a note together or a real estate project, then we have a Zoom meeting and we actually have like a roundtable discussion. And suddenly it comes forward that other people do have cash sitting on the sidelines and it is not performing right now. Or it's in a place where it's only producing like 4 or 5%, and that's kind of good. But imagine producing 8, 10, 12, 15, 20% returns for the year. So this is the beauty of having our expertise and understanding this process and then taking it literally home to your friends and family. And that's what it's all about. And families together can get involved as well.
So let's talk about some of the magic with these self-directed IRA accounts, because we're talking about nice returns, but these aren't even these are before we put them into self-directed IRA. So one of the benefits is this tax shelter, right? So for those of you who do not have an account with this young lady, I encourage you to get one. I have one. These are the tools that we use to, now that we're making money, how do? We shelter them. So talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so imagine if you have a part, if you're working 9 to 5, and then you're doing real estate and notes on the side, you usually work under an LLC or an S Corp. So you can actually open up a retirement account underneath those two business entities. And imagine this, if you're having a SEP IRA, because you are probably getting paid on a 1099 basis, you get to actually set aside into a SEP IRA account up to 25% of what your income is for the year. And you write it off your taxes while it's being deployed and making double-digit returns. Let me see, how does that work?
Boom
I
shakalaka.
think we hit the jackpot. So that's the fun of this, that we get to see that type of strategy being performed for these investors. And it's just teaching them. And also they learn to get involved with their tax advisors, and they become part of the legal platform. In other words, they're going to learn quite a lot about real estate notes and how that will affect them and their family. It's going to build family wealth, generation wealth, and get kids involved. Imagine starting off Roth IRAs for $1,000 with kids, putting it next to daddy who has like 15,000, put them together and buy 2 notes like we just saw on your examples.
There's educational savings account, HSAs, health savings accounts that you can use these things in. So again, one of the things I think that was key that we mentioned is that it's never too late to start that road towards independence, because there's always a need for supplemental things. When I talk about those health savings accounts, which Belinda could talk to you more about, obviously a little bit more than this podcast can handle, but she can help you with those educational savings accounts. These are ways that you can supplement any medical expenses that you may have down the road through these profits and in these tax shelter vehicles. So I'm just excited about working with you. When I say match made in heaven, I'm not kidding. I think you can tell.
And that's the way our friendship has been, it's always fun.
And then there's that.
We don't get depressed, I'll tell you that much. We just keep moving on, and we truly are helping other Americans to get involved and to educate them. And that's something that perhaps they don't do with financial advisors in the markets. We become very integrated in that educational process.
So yeah, let's walk them through the educational process, because it all starts with finding the money, right? It's great that I'm telling you what you can do to invest. You might say, I don't have $8,000, never mind $8,000 right now. I can just invest and not think about. Well, first of all, you just may. When you sit down with people like Belinda, she'll have you start jogging your brain about any past jobs or things that may leave money hanging around that you can go and find. After that, we want to talk about some of the educational processes that you have. So where can they get educated with you? Do you have education, out there for them?
You ready? In January, I did 14 workshops.
Online?
January. Yeah, one of them was
find it online. Okay.
Absolutely. So we are making it certain that as you come to me and you want to learn, we send out our calendar right away. Because to us, it's all about getting the American investor into Main Street. And once they understand that they can become investors with things literally down the street, real estate projects, or a note that perhaps is in the next state, or wherever. The point is, you can always get on a plane. I've been on them lately. I've been traveling.
If necessary.
Yeah, I'm not afraid. I've been doing this. And I actually got involved with some clients down in Florida just in the last 2 months. So we are getting together on roundtables, and we do a lot of Zoom calls as well, where I will put up my slides. I'll go through the process with them. We're not afraid to address any kind of questions. I've had 21 years of compliance, litigation, and operations. So that will give the investor a lot of not only confidence, but the whole idea that they can ask questions and they're going to get answers.
Let's talk about that confidence piece. If you have the lady in the pink hat and then you have Belinda on your side, I can tell you right now, you should have confidence in knowing where you're finding that money, whether you're rolling it over correctly. You're going to have hiccups as it comes. It's just the corporations, everything happens, but we're going to get you that money safely. And you're going to have now access to go and invest in what you're familiar with. So some of those alternative investments, I would love you to consider. Mortgage notes is that. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, guys. Very good. It's always good.
Are we finished?
Well, we're getting there. We're getting very close. But you can continue that conversation a little bit, and we got about a minute to go. But I just wanted to let everybody know that there are quite a bit of chat responses here, and I'm going to make sure I copy it, send it over to Jasmine and Belinda. So then they can respond back to it, because we're on a tight schedule. We're jumping to the next one. We have another one coming up.
Okay.
But by all means, they will have your contact information. They'll send out a thank you note with their
All right.
contact information. So
Sure.
you can continue to ask Jasmine and Belinda questions forever. So you'll definitely have that probably by, they'll have their contact information by tonight. And probably about 4 or 5 days, they'll have the copy edited video as well. So
Okay.
once again, Jasmine, Belinda, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
I know Jasmine comes on and she's also a sponsor and does a lot of note webinars with us. And again, we're looking forward to working with her on more of those webinars moving forward. So you take care, everybody. We do have the next panel, which is an hour long, called LIC Tough. Manhattan's a little bit down, but the little brother and sister are helping Big Manhattan. So they're coming in tough and
Okay.
working hard to, help Manhattan for a little bit until they get back under, their feet again. So anyway, you take care. Talk to you soon, everybody. And thank
Thank
you,
you.
guys. Thanks, Jasmine.
Yes,
Thanks, Belinda.
thanks. You're
Thanks, guys.
great.